Prior to the actual tour, we arrived late the night before, thinking we'd have time to explore beautiful Lima. It didn't take long to realize the guidebooks were right. Lima is a dirty, polluted city with lots of crime. It's got its upscale section, though, and that's where we were staying, far from the shanty towns near the airport. As nice as our hotel was, we looked out onto a landscape of some neglect. But our spirits were raised when our friends Jim and Eric arrived, and Eric had arranged for a city tour.
In Miraflores district for the Kennedy's Park, okay?
We met Jim and Eric a year earlier on a tour of Europe and really hit it off. And despite the city tour people losing our reservation, a situation that seemed to take forever to rectify, we had a good time touring the city, visiting a museum, an ancient adobe pyramid, and learning a little bit about Lima, like that it gets almost no rain, and the people are known for their radiant complexions. We happened to be here right when the former President Fujimori was due to be extradited back to Peru to face corruption charges. But the military presence appears to be a common sight, as does the very large number of police we encountered.
The people on the left are all, well, those are the Spanish that stayed with them.
Of course we visited a church and found ourselves in the catacombs with thousands of bones, all organized by category. Can you say obsessive-compulsive? Then we were off to meet the others in our tour group for dinner. The next morning, we woke up early for a flight to Cusco. Then by bus, we headed for the Sacred Valley.
With H-A-H-E-R-M-A.
Jamie kept calling it the Hidden Valley, but that's the salad dressing. Or is it? Cusco is 12,000 feet above sea level, and we could feel the difference even as we exited the plane. Dizziness, shortness of breath, and a faster pulse rate would eventually subside, but for now we'd be taking it easy and acclimating at a slightly lower altitude so we'd be ready for Machu Picchu.
South American ones.
On one of our first stops, Hernan explained the differences between llamas and alpacas. He did, however, fail to mention their musical contributions.
All the leaves are brown, and the sky is gray. On such a winter's day.
We traveled through the Urubamba Valley to the Pisac Market, where the locals sold their weavings. And after a while, the bus turned off the main road onto a dirt driveway. After about 10 minutes squeezing through the grass and bushes with a tail of dust behind us, we arrived at the Casa Hacienda Huaycari for a very unexpected gourmet meal. Next stop, a local potter and a tour of the operation.
Here we glaze inside the place, for example.
I came,
We checked into our hotel and had some coca tea, supposed to help with altitude sickness. We were doing okay, but still had to take it slowly. After breakfast, we were back on the bus to visit the Moray Terraces. No one knows for sure what these series of terraces were for, but theories range from architectural to cosmological. Either way, it was pretty impressive.
Waka had two meanings. Wakas were beautifully built. Even in Lima town, there are still remains of other type of wakas made of adobe because
We couldn't resist this aerial view of the Mara salt operation. The spring that feeds this area has a high concentration of salt, and through evaporation, the salt is harvested for sale.
this is a little bit warm.
Along the way, there were many photo ops, including one whose subjects promised to moon us for the cameras.
You're fired!
We continued on by foot to a restaurant down the hill. Again, a big lunch. Those buffets can kill you.
Make an oinking noise.
There was time for a visit to the village of Urubamba for a glimpse of everyday life. This is where the local people buy and sell their produce and other goods.
In the morning, it's a big crowd in all this area. Yeah.
For dinner, we were the only guests of the very special El Truco restaurant. The food was good and we were serenaded by local musicians. Ollantaytambo is the source of much pride for Peruvians. This fortress was in 1538 the site of the only successful battle the Incas had over the Spaniards. But our guide, Hernan, was getting to us, a little too long-winded, so Jamie decided to take a shortcut. After taking in the great scenery, we explored the village and had a small bite to eat. This woman wasn't as friendly as she looked when we didn't give her enough money for her photo.